This season has been filled with surprises, as there have been countless examples of players emerging out of nowhere, teams beating the expectations that they had by a mile, and unexpected developments from players already viewed highly in the public eye. With that being said though, there have also been quite a few players that entered the season expected to break out that just have not been able to do so, which brings us to today's video. Today we'll be discussing 5 younger players in the league in particular that came into the season expected by many to have breakout seasons, but have not come anywhere close to doing so. These players had an opportunity in front of them to seize a bigger role on their teams, but have not been able to do it. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first player everyone expected to break out this season but failed to do so is Jaden Ivey of the Detroit Pistons. All in all, Ivey had a really solid rookie season last year that progressively got better and better as the year went on. Rookie guards pretty much always go through a ton of ups and downs filled with inconsistency, but when they show flashes of aggressiveness and gradual improvement, then they give their fan bases a lot to be optimistic about moving forward. The leap from year 1 to year 2 is where guys should really start to cement themselves as rising stars if they're going to go down that path, but Ivey has gone in the opposite direction, which is pretty worrisome. Last season as a rookie, he averaged about 16 points and 5 assists per game, and seemed to be gaining confidence in the absence of Cade Cunningham, who was injured last year. With Cade Cunningham back on the court, a lot of people expected those two to be the Pistons' starting backcourt, but Ivey began the year not even being able to beat out Killian Hayes for the starting job. He has since won the starting job back, but his play is still just as inconsistent this year as it was last year, except his production is down across the board this season. He doesn't seem to be comfortable playing alongside Cade Cunningham because his best asset is his speed in the open court, which doesn't get utilized as much with the ball rightfully being in Cade's hands more often. Him being a subpar perimeter shooter makes the fit questionable, and he doesn't look as confident this year either, sometimes struggling to find ways to be effective throughout a game. He's still had quite a few good games this year, don't get me wrong, but the problem is he'll go from having a 23-point game one night to scoring just 9 points the next night, and his inconsistency has definitely contributed to the horrific season that the Pistons are currently having. The next player everyone expected to break out this season but failed to do so is Hyland of the Los Angeles Clippers. Hyland's NBA journey has been filled with some incredibly entertaining highs, along with some frustrating lows. He's a scoring guard by nature who, when he has the ball in his hands, is trying to do whatever he can to get a bucket. He's shown off very intriguing range on his jumper, capable of knocking down some deep threes, and he's gone on a few heaters that have made him genuinely impossible to slow down once he got going, which has obviously boosted his reputation in the eyes of the average fan. After being drafted to Denver, he grew frustrated with his inconsistent role in the rotation there, so the team traded him to the Clippers last year, and coming into this season with the Clippers, the hope was that he could emerge as a sixth-man type of player for them, providing instant offense off of their bench. But after just 8 games this season, he was pretty much completely removed from the team's rotation. Highland is a terrible defensive player. He needs too much usage to find value in his inefficient scoring output, and almost immediately after his benching, the Clippers managed to turn their season around, which speaks volumes. This is now his 3rd season in the league, and he still can't find consistent playing time, so the once promising career that many thought he had ahead is looking a lot more murky now. The next player that was expected to break out but has failed to do so this season is Jordan Poole of the Washington Wizards. The inclusion of Poole on a list like this feels like a cop-out because his situation has been discussed a million times already, but there's just simply no way you can ignore how big of a letdown he has been in Washington. After emerging 2 years ago as a 6th man on the Warriors' title-winning team, he then averaged over 20 points per game last season, and when he got traded this summer, everyone acknowledged the fact fact that he was now out of the shadow of guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and was going to have a bigger green light on a rebuilding side. That typically is a recipe for a player to put up some pretty big numbers, even if they are inflated and empty on a losing team. But Poole hasn't even been able to put up empty stats on a terrible Wizards side, which makes him one of the more disappointing players of the whole season. He just simply cannot handle the duties of a number 1 or number 2 option, because not only is his scoring down to just 17 points per game this year, but his efficiency is way down as well, and he wasn't even that efficient in Golden State, so that's saying something. His defense is a mess, and his decision-making and shot selection result in him going viral on social media for making bonehead plays on the regular, so after being one of the hottest names in the breakout conversation before the year started, he's now on this list for a reason. The next player that was expected to break out this season but just has not been able to do so is Nicola Yovic of the Miami Heat. Yovic was a first-round draft pick for the Heat in 2022, and after a rookie season where he really didn't play that much, he had a very strong showing in the FIBA World Cup this summer playing for Serbia, who made it all the way to the tournament's gold medal game. Yovic showed off how diverse his game is throughout the tournament, shooting the lights out some games, playing reliable defense, capably defending multiple positions, and doing the little things that you would have thought Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra would love to incorporate into his rotation this year. This was especially the case when the Heat lost Max Strus and Gabe Vincent this offseason, so minutes were up for grabs. Unfortunately for Yovic, though, he has still not really had many opportunities to play this year, mostly only seeing the court in games when other players ahead of him are injured. He has just 8 appearances in games this season, spending a lot of his time down with the Heat's G League affiliate team to get minutes, and he recently expressed his frustrations with his situation to the media, saying that he feels as though he deserves to be playing and that he's being misused, but is trying his hardest to remain patient. It has to be extra frustrating to see rookie Jaime Jaquez step in and immediately earn a big role too, because Jaquez is having the immediate breakout that Yovic was expected to have. And finally, the last player that has failed to break out after big preseason expectations is Josh Green of the Dallas Mavericks. Green's first 2 seasons were more of a learning period before he really proved his worth last season and earned big minutes for Dallas down the stretch. He excelled in the 3-and-D role with potential to be more at times, scoring about 9 points per game last year, shooting the ball 54% from the field and 40% from 3. With the Mavericks getting rid of guys like Reggie Bullock, Christian Wood, and Davis Bertans this offseason, there were more minutes to be had in the team's front court, and with their emphasis on defense, Green should have been just the guy to earn a bigger role this year, but for some reason, his play has taken a step backward. He did suffer a minor elbow injury that caused him to miss a few weeks this year, but even before that happened, his play was trending in the wrong direction. He's scoring less, putting up just 7 points per game, he's shooting the ball worse from the field and from 3, and he's shooting worse especially from the field than he ever has in his 4-year career, making just 43% of his shots, and he doesn't look as spry and confident as he did last season. So with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below why you think these players failed to break out this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.